This is Leadership Beyond, your community of conversation. Today we're talking with Dianne Gubin and Beth Hilbing, founders and co-CEOs of the organization C-Suite. C-Suite is the premier global community of female executives unleashing unlimited potential for all. Their mission is to foster and renew executive-level relationships for women across sectors.
I really love the energy and passion that Dianne and Beth bring to everything they do. And being a member of this organization, I can attest to they take community seriously and they have excellent programming. And it's driven by and created and curated by the members. They're very entrepreneurial and open to anything that will support women leaders.
What resonates with me is one, that Tom, you are a part of this organization. And so that speaks very much to their inclusiveness of advocates who support women in their acceleration of their careers and how that is balanced against life. And Dianne and Beth's genuine interest in helping women, which has shaped everything they do about this community and how much that they truly provide support in practice. So it's not just education for women as they're transitioning in their careers and accelerating into higher level roles, but it is continuing to find ways to support the practice of doing that as they continue in those careers. Welcome, Dianne and Beth.
Good afternoon, Dianne and Beth. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us today. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays. Yes, thank you for joining. I'm so excited to get to know more about both of you. And I know you guys have a history with Tom. So maybe we'll get to dig into that, because I think that could be a funny story. But before we do that, Dianne and Beth, thanks for joining us. And if you would just share with us how the two of you met and then how you came together to form this wonderful C-Suite organization.
Great. Dianne, why don't you kick it off and then I'll fill in.
Sure. So I'm Dianne Gubin, co-CEO of C-Suite, along with Beth. And Beth and I have had the wonderful privilege and joy of knowing each other probably about 20 years. So I was running Women in Technology International when I moved to Los Angeles, I don't know, about 25 years ago. I didn't know anybody, so I started running networking groups, and I happened to have been in technical recruiting at that time, which I still am in some ways. Anyway, so I ran Women in Technology International. Beth came out, we met, and we've been friends literally ever since. And just fast forward about 7 years ago, I was looking for a networking group in Los Angeles. I was looking for a group that went across industries, across business units, and where I could meet executive level women who I could work with. And you know what? I ran to Everybody's Everything for a year, and there wasn't a single group that looked like what I needed. So Beth and I got together, and she said, that sounds brilliant. And so we started C-Suite together, and we had about 40 people in a conference room down in Century City. And now we're in 7 cities. We have a few hundred members growing. We have about 25,000 on our distribution list. And we just love what we're doing.
Yeah. And so what I think has really resonated with C-Suite is that we are across all industries, and that makes us different. And our core effort is really 3 P's, which is building your community and your network. Because I was a senior executive at Northrop Grumman, and I was head down for 16 years. And when I went into a transition period, which Dianne and I formed C-Suite at that time, I had let my network go. And so I was looking for a new role, didn't have my network, and was trying to find that role where my male counterparts had still had their counterparts that they golfed with or did their things with. And I was traveling like crazy and working, and I had let that go. So I had to rebuild that. But in rebuilding it, I did get my new role at Boeing through my network. That I had just rebuilt and was referred to my new position at Boeing. So that's the whole reason why we started C-Suite was for building community and networking, education on key topics and value for our members, and then also making sure that our events that we hold, whether they're virtual or in person, are truly spectacular and bring value. So those are kind of our pillars for C-suite.
For sure. And we're really a think tank also because we put such thought leaders together. Our topics are always, I want to say, bleeding edge. It's what's timely today. We do panels, keynotes, roundtables, etc.
I think what really kind of excites me about your organization is that cross industry piece, because you're both have roots in technology, it sounds like, but the challenges that leaders face really, are agnostic to industry,
Right. And I should add,
generally speaking.
Adrian, I'm also an investment banker. So what I find is whether it's tech or finance, the same issues have been there, at least my entire career, where very oftentimes I'm the only or one very few women in the room. And the same issues just have never gone away, right? They're just there. Maybe there's DE and I now to bounce it around, but the issues are there.
And I think it's another thing that kind of sparked an interest. Was this something you said, Beth? Was that the male counterparts still maintained their network with the networking that they did with the golfing? I'll tell you a very quick story. I had a male business owner, very successful business owner. It was a personal event that I went to, a family event, and I was talking to him, telling him about my business, and he said, "Do you golf? You need to learn how to golf. That's how you're going to meet business leaders who might be prospects." I said, "Well, no, I don't golf, nor do I really have an interest in golfing." It's like, "Well, you're going to miss out." Really?
Yeah, no, I know. And I think that still is kind of the case today. I always say I'll drive the golf cart and drink the beer.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll go to the after party.
Can I just stand at one of the
The bumps or whatever.
the holes and cheer you on?
Yeah. But yeah, and so it's been a delight for us because we actually, in building the community and building our membership and growing, we have seen the women hiring each other, funding each other, working together, which is what we're about. And that brings us such joy and passion in everything that we do. And we do have men like Tom in our organization, and they
sure
bring a lot
haven't
of value.
seen many of them, but I believe you. I'm not challenging you on it, and I'm just fine with that.
There are a handful.
I'm not doubting you. Your credibility is sound. I'm just saying, and I don't mind when people say ladies. It doesn't bother me a bit.
Right. Well, Tom, if you're brave enough to walk in the room.
But I will tell this story because the next thing I want to talk about is your differing styles. And so when we hear you tell the story, what's clear is you were friends. You're both entrepreneurial in the sense that you say, we're looking for the perfect networking group for us. It doesn't exist. Why don't we create it? Love that. So entrepreneurial spirit. But then when you get beyond the shared values, you are very different in your styles and your approach. And Adrian and I work with teams to help say that's where value really is, where people that have differing interests and skills and common values can create much better. And Adrian and I have blind spots sometimes because of our similarities. So we partner with people who have the process and precision piece. And that's a long-winded way to ask this question is, how do you work so well together, given that you are different people?
Well, first, I'll take that, Beth, first. First, I am extremely blessed to have Beth as a partner. She is like the most awesome person you can imagine to work with. I mean, this is a gal who gets things done like you never saw anybody.
Oh, I know.
So kind of you.
Who reported to her. I mean, honestly, she just organizes the hell out of all of us. So thank you for that, Beth. Beth and I, even though we're very different, we have very similar shared values, I think. Beth and I have both been married for over 30 years, so we understand what it takes in a personal relationship and a partnership. And I think this is in many ways its own business marriage.
Yes.
And so we have trust with each other. We're honest with each other. We keep each other informed. When we were interviewed by the LA Business Journal, and the gentleman said, it's rare to see two co-CEOs. Usually there's a power struggle, or someone wants to be the chief and someone doesn't. We've lost kind of, we do have some ego, but we've lost kind of some of that ego along the way, because life can knock it out of you. But we see each other all the time on everything. We talk a lot. I talk to Dianne at least 7-8 times a day, and over the weekend sometimes we need a little break from each other. And then we have all our committee members, and so we just have a high level of communication. And we try to be positive and stay focused on our mission and our goals and what we're trying to accomplish. We do have a different mindset and skill set, and we recognize that about each other, and we draw off of each other. And then if we do find that we are feeling like exhausted, or that we are putting too much emphasis in one area, we will tell each other, and then we try to regroup and we just have an underlying layer of trust, friendship, and respect for each other, and I think that has gotten us a long way.
And I would add humor to that. Observing, be serious about your work, but not about yourselves, and be okay to say whoops once in a while. I mean,
I agree.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, really, the whole thing is C-suite is so much fun. And I think Beth and I both feel that way. And so we hope that when people come to C-suite, besides the education, that it's a very positive, enjoyable experience, and that we impact all the people that we touch in the most positive of ways.
Right. And we're always trying to help the people that are part of C-suite with their goals and objectives. Like right before this call, we were on a call with an executive that was in transition, and we were brainstorming with them on where they should go as they look for their next career path and all of that. And we do that all the time. Like, we personally meet with every new member that comes into C-suite and ask what we can do for them. How can we help them? And that's just something that we like to do. And,
right. How can we connect them?
Yeah. And how can we connect them? Yeah.
One thing that I take away from that is that you don't run away from any differences or disagreements. You almost run towards them, but recognize when they exist. And I hear that that's your prompt to kind of pause and reflect and go back to those shared values. And those shared values are not just things you came up with when you created the organization. You really embody them.
Yes, that's correct. And if there is a disagreement, or if there is a dissension, we do talk about that. Or if we feel negatively about something that's happened, or in working with people, people's personalities and so forth, there are sometimes some things come through with that. Dianne and I talk about that personally off guard, and we talk that through. Yes. So because we want to make sure the organization is always focused on what the mission is, and focused in a positive way, and moving forward, and making sure that we're merging towards the goals, objectives, and the visions. We have these committees that are in the across the country with executive women. We want to make sure that they're empowered with the tools and technology that they need to be successful, to bring in more members into C-suite as well. We've grown organically over the last 7 years, and it's just been an amazing journey. So
right. And I believe we're as inclusive as we can be. Like, we really seek out women who are diverse. We don't want it to just be the Dianne and Beth party by any means, and you could tell that by the hundreds of members we have. It's, we want diversity within C-suite.
So something that came in the story, I can attest to as someone having experienced it. And Adrienne had asked how I came to be part of C-suite. And I got a note from Lacey saying C-suite was looking for a speaker. And I reached out, and I don't remember whether it was Beth or Dianne, but one of you said, we found the speaker for the Chicago event, but you're welcome to be our guest.
That's me. That was
you.
Yeah.
And you sent me an invitation. And I came to the event in downtown Chicago. And I just loved the vibe. I didn't come down with any intention. Nobody gave me a sales pitch. I just liked this community feeling. It was educational, and the speaker was good and all of that, but it just had that feeling, which I know you work hard to cultivate. It didn't just happen, but I got to experience it. And I just said, how do I get involved with this? And the next thing you know, I'm a member. But it really was not.
And you bought memberships for other people.
Yes, I did. But it was not the programming, which is exceptional, and I'm taking advantage of it. It was not anything other than, this is a group of people I'd like to be a part of, and maybe I could find a way to contribute. So you created an environment, and I'm just really blessed to be a part of it.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
That's a big testament to your commitment to diversity, truly. I mean, and that Tom feels welcomed and included in an organization that's aimed at supporting women.
Yeah, right, and I'm supporting the goal of all that, and I'm doing that goal. I'm not changing the goal at all.
Right. Yeah, and that speaks to me too from a certain level of comfort as well. On both sides. Tom being comfortable walking into the room and all the women not going, "What are you doing here?" Right. But also the flip side of that your members are comfortable with Tom being in the room.
No, for sure. No, oh my gosh, for sure. Very inclusive. But you know what? I'd love to actually talk a little bit about the programming that we're doing, because I think our programming is very distinct and very unique from some of the other groups there. Because again, since we're not niche, like only tech or only finance or only manufacturing, we go across, as we said, business units. So we have a very large women on boards initiative that's very popular. The whole thing about women on corporate boards, I want to say it's more pervasive on the West Coast, but the East Coast is getting there too. Just a little, lag there because there was a state law about it in California. So we really help women with that process if they do want to be on a corporate board. Beth and I had the opportunity to speak for a financial conference of probably about 200 women. And we talked about the journey to the boardroom. And women came up to us afterwards and said, "I never thought about a board position. Never seemed that it would be something that I could do." And so we demystified the process and what's involved in being and getting on a corporate board. So that's one example of the programming that we do. That's a regular track we have.
And some others you want to share?
Yes.
Oh, yes, sure. So we also do we're kicking off a C-level cohort for pure C-levels this year. We do a human resources workshop. We're doing an AI quarterly workshop, which we're kicking off this Thursday with Randy Levine, who was the CIO for JPL. We do a national monthly speaker series, which is virtual, and we're doing it with four authors, which Tom is one of, next Thursday with our sponsor Entrepreneurial. And we have an author that was on Oprah's best buy books for her book club. But we try to keep relevant topics for that national speaker series. And then we also do a business roundtable. We do a psychology workshop as well. And then we do women in finance, and then we also do a bi-monthly women on boards speaker series as well. Right. All the chapters that we have across the country are tapped with doing 2 to 4 in-person events, and they bring in speakers as well. So we're kicking off Southern Nevada that's January 25th in Las Vegas, and we'll have a keynote speaker coming to talk about trends for 2024 from the university. And then in February on the 29th, we'll be at the Real kicking off the San Francisco chapters. So we have chapters in San Francisco, Las Vegas, Chicago, New York, DC, Carolina, LA, Orange County, and continuing to expand. And we host about 75% is virtual and 25% is in person. So there's something for everybody. We do podcasts, newsletters, etc. So we want to make sure that our memberships are getting value for their money, for sure.
And that's incredible.
Throw in that the members have opportunities to suggest new things that might be supportive, and you're always open to looking at things that you could do.
Yeah, we're very entrepreneurial in our styles. So like the AI series, we had 4 women come to us and tell us that they wanted to run that program. and who they wanted to come speak, et cetera. And so we let them just run with it. Same thing with our HR workshop. We also have executive coaches. We have 10 executive coaches that are part of C-suite. And so as a member, that's a benefit. A benefit for your membership. You get the executive coaching kickoff session as well, an introduction to a coach of your choice. And we have a job board and career center as well that you can utilize as you're looking for your next role and so forth. Because what we hear a lot from our executive women is, how do they do the next career step? How do they increase their level of responsibility beyond their current role? How do they make those connections? And so we want to try to make sure that we're adding that value for them as well.
Right. Yeah. So our makeup of C-suite, I'd say maybe we're 15 to 20%, the Fortune 1500, heavy middle market. That's really our core focus, the larger middle market companies. And then, of course, we always pick up the entrepreneurs and the fast growth companies.
And emerging leaders as well.
Emerging leaders. That's also one of the things that makes us different is, we really do consciously pull women up, and some of our emerging leaders are on our committees, and oh my gosh, they're awesome.
Lots of energy for sure.
Yeah, lots of energy.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we lose that over the years, don't we? It seems, unless you're really getting energized by something. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing as today's challenges with leaders, but specifically what's extra challenging for women leaders today?
So much jumps to mind. Let's talk about the DE&I initiatives that were so big a number of years ago. I think budgets are being cut in that area, and corporations are not necessarily seeing the value of DE&I. Not every company for sure, but we're hearing that companies are pulling back on that. So that's certainly a challenge.
And then the other thing that women face are, they still continue to face the balance of the work-life balance and having families and maneuvering through their careers. And then the transition from their large corporation roles into board positions and into their next steps as they transition, beyond their 50 plus years. And then, still seeing some boundaries into some of those executive roles that they want. So that some of that is still there, not as much, but there is still some of that limitation there. And then, we still hear all the time, not all the time, but we still hear that, I just can't take on one more thing. I can't be part of another networking organization because I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to look at me. I'm so busy with everything else. So what we always try to tell everyone is that you really have to take that time to join networking organizations and to focus on your network and take that time for yourself, because that's more important than anything else. Because as I've learned, I've been in transition twice in my career. While the company loves you, while they have you, when they've made a decision that it's not a fit anymore, then you're out.
Or you're just a row on an Excel spreadsheet, right?
Right. And so unfortunately, that's the way it is. And so you need to make sure that you're building that foundation. And so there is that burnout factor too, that a lot of executives need to kind of regroup and recharge and focus where they're going to go next. And I think too, new generations coming into the workforce and how their work styles and how they work and so forth, and retuning how we work and the various generations with them, that also is a little bit of a struggle that we all have to face. Right. I can still remember my dad having to learn how to type way back when, and he was typing with one finger at a time because he had to learn the computer, right? So that shows you how old I am. But anyway, so it's just something that we have to face. But there's so many opportunities, and there's so many areas of focus that you can go to and attest to. And as we always say, we just stay focused. Just stay focused. Don't let all that other stuff get into your way. Just stay focused on your goal.
Right. And I think Beth, even add where Beth is, it's women looking out for other women more concertedly. So what does that mean? It literally means exactly why we started C-Suite. We hire each other. We consciously give each other the business because then that supports our families and our businesses, et cetera. Right. And we and we pull each other up. It's really simple. In many ways, it's almost Pollyanna-ish. But you know what? If we're going to get to any major societal changes, us women, sorry, Tom, we literally have to start working with each other.
Yeah.
No apology. I agree with that entirely. Yeah.
And I think there's so much when I think I have young daughters, and my oldest is a sixth grader. And so I'm starting to witness I wished that this had gone away already, but it doesn't, right? It's still there, this sort of the cliques and the cattiness and I think, oh, honey, if I could just like fast forward you to hopefully 30s, I don't know, like where does that stop, right? Where because as grown women, we feel the opposite, right? Like, no, let's all come together because we need to lift each other up. But there's still this sense of combativeness or competition among girls that I don't see with the boy counterparts.
Yeah, I think it's the sports thing, personally.
My girls are in sports, but you raise a good point because the girls who are in the sport together, I don't see that. It's the girls that are school friends, so there's you're right. There's that team factor and they've got that one shared value maybe. And, how can we try to like expand that? So can just females be a team? Sorry, guys, right? But can females be a team? And if you want to help the females be a team and you're a guy, great, join us, right? But where do you curate that mindset? It's a challenge. It is still a challenge.
For sure. So Adrienne, I have two daughters, and having been through middle school and high school, it's just a horrible time. It's just a horrible time. You just got to get through it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to really not, even when you're in corporations, there still will always be people's personalities to deal with and so forth. And what I do is I just choose not to engage at that level. I just don't engage at that level. And there's some, we have had a little bit of that in our organization too. We just don't engage in it.
Right.
So,
right.
Well, I think it also comes back to if you create a culture that doesn't encourage it, you're still going to get an individual fishy who does it that way, but the culture supports people who support each other. And you've done that in C-Suite. You can never, and so for corporate culture, it's the same way. You have a dominant environment that creates collaboration and support. It doesn't mean you're going to create this perfect world where egos don't happen, but you have enough momentum in that culture that you're going to attract more people who like that vibe, and the ones that don't self-select will kind of go their own way. And so that's a testament to your values being expressed across the organization, and that can happen in a corporation as well as a networking organization. So thank you for modeling that for us. I haven't seen a lot of it in the organization, but you can never say never. The fishies come under the filter, but it's just not a culture that supports that. And then they'll go somewhere else and find their club.
Yeah. I mean, we're purely about a women's and some men networking organization. We also have never dove into any politics at all. And that has served us very well.
Yeah.
So
that keeps a lot of the conflict out the door right there.
Right there, for sure. But we are very conscious and aware of what's going on.
As individuals, sure, but we don't bring individuals organization. Right. Yeah. It's
Well, thank you so much for visiting with us. Love your attitude, your values, your energy, and I'm very proud to be associated with your good work at C-Suite.
Yeah, I love the great work you're doing.
Adrienne. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy holidays. I hope you enjoy your family and your friends.
Come on out to C-Suite, Adrienne.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Leadership Beyond podcast. We hope you benefited from this conversation as much as we have. We invite you to join our community of conversation. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to sign up at aleadershipbeyond.com for free materials and updates. That's aleadershipbeyond.com. Join us in 2 weeks for our next episode.